Hey! Okay.
This is Roux number 2.
Roux Two.
Roux 2.
I kind of like that. I kind of like that the roux rhymes with stuff.
Yeah.
Ouse isn't a number.
Roux.
Number 2. And then number 22. And then number 32. And then, oh my God, number 42. Oh, Jesus. 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 Jesse. Oh, there's 3 people with us. Do you want to do the honors?
Yes. Let's start with land acknowledgement and just a general thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
The Creator gifted us with this land that we are blessed to share and care for together. We acknowledge that the land we gather on Mohkinstsis is the ancestral territory of the Siksika, Sitapi, the Siksika, the Gaina, the Piikani, and the Amskapi Piikani. We acknowledge all First Nations and Métis of Treaty 7 lands, the Sutena, the Itkabi, which includes Bearspaw, Chiniki, and Goodstoney. We commit to advancing reconciliation guided by truths, respecting treaty laws, and humbly walking alongside First Nation, Métis, and Inuit. We recognize all who live, work on these lands and make art, and who now call this place home. So we are just very
grateful.
Very grateful. First of all, to have a space to keep making art and getting together with you.
We needed this space because we also live in it.
Yep. Yeah. And so I would say get a tea, get some water, have a seat and relax. And there's so much joy tonight. We've been waiting. We've been waiting for you for all week.
For you all this time. I'm going to put in the comments code section. What just happened? Cancel. Okay. What's the code? Paste. There's a StreamYard code for you. If you'd like to join, you click on that and it'll give you some instructions.
Up on Twitch too.
Doesn't it? Isn't that nice? Okay. So how are we going to go through this? You did the land acknowledgement. We have some, I'd like to say, funny videos. I don't know if they are or not. Let's try one of our funny videos because this relates to our theme tonight. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. What's up, bub? Something eating you?
Heartache.
Heartache?
I've been seeing someone, but it's complicated.
Complicated? Like what? She's married?
Worse. I think she's an alien.
An alien from another planet?
Maybe.
She's an alien, but she likes you.
Yeah, she says I'm tender and sweet, and she searched the whole cosmos, and I'm exactly what she's craving.
Oh, is she looking for a date or a snack?
Well, she did invite me for dinner.
Rich, are you coming?
That laugh at the end is my favorite.
Can I say I have a dislocated shoulder? I mean, it's relocated, but I'm not supposed to use it. And through the magic of film, I switched my wedding ring to my right hand. And,
I didn't even know.
Well, because I'm like vigorously, no, because I flipped it because there wasn't room to get around that side.
Right.
But right before I did it, I was like, I'm going to switch my finger. And because I switched my finger, the only thing that bothers me is that I keep trying to tell people not to crash into that arm. And then I created the illusion where my arm was, so that I had to flip that because I played both roles there. All right. So last week we rolled a, this is what we did. Last week we spun, right?
Yeah.
Was that this? So the word we picked this week, starting with X, was?
Xenophilia.
Okay. Got ahead of myself.
Do you want to do Dead Kevin first?
Yeah. What I'm looking for. I'm Rich Roux. And this week we spun the wheel in advance so that we'd have some time to do some preparation. And so the letter landed on X. Which one?
X. She.
X.
Three-legged firebirds.
Did you have any ideas for what theme we should do for the letter X next week? That's a pretty broad topic. It does provoke a number of ideas. Some of the thoughts we were talking about with AI. Definitely some of the thoughts we're talking about with actually how social media, and this is crazy. We're talking a little bit about religions and social media, and it does promote the other. I'll have to do a little bit of research into that because I'm not sure if it's a positive thing or a negative thing. Is it seen as a positive thing or a negative thing? I don't know. It's kind of a new word to me, but I like it. It's exciting. Yeah, I guess. So we'll see you next week, and the letter next week is brought to you by the letter X. Table. And that means
kind of like being affected or in love with the other or something new.
yeah, so that fits really well with our inclusionism. But then if you turn it into exclusion, if you're only in love with, say, like redheads or something, then you're like fetishizing things. So we want to be careful how we use it, but it really loaded into some ideas we had about how religion and social media line up together. Kind of interesting because, you know, the Christian religion, you have the 7 deadly sins, and those line up pretty well with, you know, like Pride might be Facebook, and sloth might be Netflix, and we can get into that later, yeah. And then, when we looked into Buddhism and Hinduism and Islamic religion, and so there's very similar. It's interesting to me how similar the world is. The world religions are always so close, and not worth fighting over, I don't think, but just different words. In some cases, the exact same words, but just this idea of taking the sins, the deadly sins, and rethinking them. So what we came up with was the antithesis of the 7 deadly sins. Do you have those handy? So the opposite of that would be, the antithesis of pride would be authenticity. Greed, the antithesis would be generosity. Lust, the opposite is respect. Envy is gratitude. Gluttony is mindfulness. Wrath is patience. And sloth is purpose. So we really want to focus on a painting tonight for authenticity, generosity, respect, gratitude, mindfulness, patience, and purpose. Did you want me to point out you were aware that you were helping me with my spelling?
Oh, I was on spelling duty and I didn't fix patience.
Spell patience wrong.
I fixed.
Well, you know what?
There's always next week.
I'm just going to let that sit, and then I'm not going to let it bother me.
Oh, you're going to have patience?
I am. I'm going to try some patience with you.
That is so nice.
The next part of what we do is we figure out, okay, we have a concept, right? And actually I apologize in advance, we have a number of puppet videos to share with you. But Felix and I did some, not slapstick, but what's it called?
Kind of like Fozzie Bear humor.
Chopstick. Slap chop. We did some slap chop puppets. And so what we're going to do is, we're also going to have Jesse's birthday cake, if you're down to have that with us. So we got some co-op cakes, but so basically what did we decide? We decided if I was to picture who was the most madly in love with everything, and you've said me before, that's really sweet. When did you say in your TEDx talk? But also way more feral than me was Richard from Illinois, right? Richard Cox. Also, he's in love with a minister.
Yeah.
Was he a minister?
He was a
religious leader.
Yeah.
Leader. Yeah. And they fell in love and got married. And so what we loved about this was Richard is just fanatically in love with everything. He'd be in love with the grass and the trees and his, can I say crazy? He has a bit of a crazy garden, and his house is just wild. And so we wanted to do, and he's done so much for us. So I've got some sketches here that I just did off the top of my head. Where's my camera? Here. And that was just me warming up. That's one. And this is two. This is a really nice and loose one. And Richard and Terry, 3.
Yeah, we got to visit with them last Christmas break, and it was really nice being able to see Richard's studio and just visit with them and have time to chat. And both of them are so, like you said, just.
I stole these pictures of them off their Facebook, and I don't know if Richard's going to find us tonight, but he's going to find something in the mail. How do you want to do this? Do I start drawing or do we eat cake? I think we eat some cake. Is that okay? So this is a little self-serving.
Yeah, we used to get cake at the gallery for everyone.
But we're actually serving ourselves.
It's my birthday on Friday.
Yeah, isn't it? So we move our birthdays to the Wednesdays. That way, it used to be to keep the gallery open. I just got to be careful reaching. Don't reach. And then where's the fire?
Oh my gosh, are we fire?
We didn't start the fire. Aren't we? There are 10 people with us. I hope at home, the one thing that's missing in these. Oh, what? What is it? What?
We can do that on the weekend, on Friday.
What?
The 8 and the 3.
Nope. You only turn 83 once.
You only turn 83 one time.
Is the camera flipped? All right, so I'm going to put it, maybe I'll do it this way. This might work. Hold on. This might be like the night that we burned old Dixie down. Oh, can we call the studio Dixie from now on?
I like that.
Yeah, and people go, why do you call it Dixie? I'm like, well, you'll find out. Crumbs. Or where are you going to put those?
In the pocket.
Oh, that's gross. Okay. And I haven't flipped the camera, have I? Is this the right side? Where's my hand? Where's my hand? This is right, and this is left, so everything's good. Got 9 people with us for our birthday and our rebirthday, because I would say, actually, ironically, we did open on the number 1 on the 1st of January, but it was really like kind of a practice run, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember I put one of these in the garbage? 38. You silly Willie. She's not 83.
Oh, yeah.
Alrighty.
The garbage bag. It lit on fire like 8 times.
Yeah, it would not go out because apparently you're not supposed to do that. Did you really put that garbage in your pocket?
No, I put it there.
Oh, my God. You're an insane woman.
Just grab a pocket.
Okay. Just check that under the table.
No.
We'll fix it later.
That is wild.
Do you know how to light these?
Yeah.
Alrighty. Is it like this? There isn't really a starting point.
We're right behind a window, so I can open up the window.
Yeah.
Anything goes sideways.
Whoa.
Well, that is lovely.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Oh, look.
Happy birthday. Holy crap, it's on fire. Happy birthday to you. Now, if we had to call the fire department, I love it. You opposed it. What does that mean? No more Tom Waits. Happy birthday, Jess, right? Oh, geez, they're really frying. Oh, burn the table, burn the table. We did. We marked the table.
Burn the table, burn the table.
That was exciting. That was some exciting. Oh, it's not over yet. But seriously, this is the worst part, because if there was a fire, there's no way we could dodge responsibility because we broadcast to the.
We melted the.
Didn't we?
3 times. I have a question.
You have a question?
I was going to actually ask too. So Scott saw in your video, it says no more Tom Waits. Is that what it says in your background of your video? Or did it say?
Just said Tom Waits.
Oh.
Maybe in my video, the Tom Waits was cut off. Is that possible? It's possible.
No, Tom Waits was there. Like the words. That's why we're
more
both
Tom
asking
Waits.
you about it.
There's always more Tom Waits. Actually, we haven't listened to Tom Waits in a long time. How many Tom Waits albums do we have?
Quite a few.
They are hot.
Stop.
What? That's garbage.
I know, but I'm going to.
Oh, okay. Now, do we eat our cakes later, or do we just like mow down on them?
I think we can snack while we're talking.
I'm gonna just wolf. Because we don't eat sugar anymore, but we're eating sugar right now. Ooh, if you're getting up.
Yeah.
My dear,
Napkins?
I think we'll need some sort of table wiping device.
I'm not putting this hot stuff in our garbage. I'm just gonna sit it in the sink.
Oh shit! Oh shit! It ain't no thing. Ain't no thing but a jelly ring. I said poop on the YouTube. We're gonna get banned.
God.
I'm not usually this piggish, I don't think, am I? But I kind of got to get started on my painting.
Oh, that's really
I got a new cup from the University of Calgary. And yeah, I got stuff all over the table. Not even enjoying this cake. I'm eating it because I have to, because it's your birthday.
That's not fair.
I know. It's actually really good. Should I
roll
save you a bite?
the window a little bit?
Nah.
The smoke?
Sure. I was going to save you a piece of chocolate, but I didn't. Yeah, we really they're like mouse turds. You know what we could have done instead of letting people? Nothing, because it's happened. It's like there's no way to go back in time.
No, we could have done.
You know what we could have done instead of like eating our cake in front of everybody?
Yeah.
I could have played your puppet video. Let's just see. Let's just see if these are funny. We'll find out soon enough. Oh, they're numbered? Isn't that nice? So these are all based off of the Deadly Sins. Come on, you. Do it.
So Sloth went to a job interview.
Let me guess. He was late.
No, actually he was on time.
Really? Okay, I'm intrigued.
Yeah, so he made a real effort and he showed up early and he had his resume printed and he only used it on recycled paper. And so, you want to know what happened?
What happened?
So they asked him, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
What did he say?
And so the Sloth says,
probably right here. I'll still be answering these questions.
I will admit we didn't get Felix up close enough to the mic, I don't think. So where we have these, what I like to think of as funny videos. I mean, okay, can I just point out that really they're not so much funny on their own as they're funny in the sense that I think they're funny. So
Funny.
if you want to laugh at what I think is funny, that's totally fair. Let's get another one in while you're eating.
So I met a greedy guy at the thrift store today. He bought a used lottery ticket. I said, you know that's already been scratched, right? And he's like, yeah. I was just hoping I could get a bit more underneath.
I was just hoping I could get a bit more underneath. That's good. Those are good yucks. One more puppet, or are we going to lose viewers? How many we got? 8. I'm losing viewers with the puppets. I'm going to show you one more. Percent. Big that one.
My Uncle Ralph is so cheap. Really? How cheap is he? He's so cheap, he invites you to dinner and says, bring your own chair! And sometimes he says, bring your own dinner! And sometimes he says, bring your own table!
Remove. Add to stage. Where are you? Remove. Boom. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to draw, if I can, something that resembles Richard and Perry. And then we're going to mail it to Richard and Terry for the sheer love and joy of it. As you can see, I'm using my same sheet that I put gesso on last time. Should I go, do you think for this I should go landscape or portrait? What do you say?
I think landscape because there's the two of them.
And if I were to start with a color, what do you think it would be?
Blue.
Blue. I was thinking something a little less dairy.
Yellow.
Somebody liked our video so far. Okay. Can anybody give me some feedback on the quality of the image? Because the reason I ask is
Step with that guy that wanted to kill.
volume down. Is that what were you wearing last week? That's last week. Okay. You know what I did last week is I put my password in on my phone. And did I just do that again? No, I think I picked it up. Did I? Yeah, and it just worked. But I put my password in, and I had to change my password because it was on the live feed. This is embarrassing. But luckily, that one was only a problem if I actually lose my phone. But then I'd be compromised, like full-on hard compromise. So I'm going to pin this one to the top. Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
So this week we're live to YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
Isn't that nice? Okay. Around 1,200 people were exposed to the event last week. The number of people that actually watched it may or may not be different. That might be like 12 or 4. But we spoke to some people, so we know some people watched it. But what was nice is we got, well, no, because you know what? There's 100 views on YouTube, which are pretty accurate. And then with Facebook and Instagram, you kind of get a weird mix of like, you get kind of a weird mix of who's seen it more so than who's watching it.
Right.
I'm going to zone out and draw. So are you going to talk about interesting stuff? Otherwise, like, we're going to lose our viewers.
So
how did we keep the flow going last week? Oh, Felix was asking a lot of questions,
Felix was
I think.
here, yeah.
Okay.
I really liked how you thought of doing different videos to set up this week.
Yeah.
I like that we have the wheel, so we'll show. Yeah, you saw the video. The wheel has all of the book all deconstructed.
Yeah.
And that was really fun to put it in a new structure.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm working on a Welsh symbol for inspiration.
Let's do this.
Because I think
Let's put some. Whoa, this could go anywhere. Luckily, I'm wearing pants. Chaos. Okay, there we go. Oh, closer, farther. Ah, there we go. And can I just get the light more on you? You'll let up on me. And so, yeah, that was something that we started out with the letter X. And we weren't until the last minute going to do something with the wheel. We were going to retire the wheel. But it seemed pretty fun to sort of keep that in play. Mm-hmm. You very gallantly disassembled your book. Deassembled? Disassembled. Deconstructed your book. And we turned that into a big... Gina's watching.
Gina!
Thank you for contacting us. Oh, I'll put the comments back on. Gotta be careful of that arm. If it comes out on screen...
Yeah, comments are on.
There will be some... Are you reading them?
Yeah, they're right there.
Oh, you're so smart.
Melanie says, happy birthday, thank you.
Happy birthday. I'm gonna maybe move the Lego man off screen. What do we got here? Goodbye, Lego man. Ooh, Isle of Roux. Okay. So, Okay, Gina says she's watching and it's clear. Gina, is it more? Did you see last week where it went all pixelated? We upgraded to like the professional streamer, which was a little bit expensive. But I guess if we're gonna do this, this is the thing we're gonna do. Are these fingers?
Yeah.
They could be anything though, right? Because like
Yeah.
this is a pretty lo-fi image. I put the screen over here so you can get them. Yeah, there we go. It's gonna be like that, isn't it?
I didn't mean to. I just like
Mm-hmm.
go into myself.
Yeah.
This is what I got myself for a birthday gift.
It looks great on your hip. Is there a way to show that?
Yeah.
Or just we can imagine it, I guess.
So it's like,
Show the pieces here and then. Oh yeah, no, that's good. You're doing great. My
oh,
bad.
you can see it on both things.
Yeah,
So
isn't that nice?
So on this screen, and here, it's like a little clip. And this has, I lost the little rubber stopper for the scissors.
If anybody still drinks wine, could you send us a wine cork?
And this has a little pen or
Ooh,
stylus.
you know what we need?
Wax.
This is gonna blow your mind. We need a post box. Like like when you have like a post box, it's a mailing address post
Oh,
box.
yeah.
That way we can have stuff mailed, right? But also
Yeah, you're right.
it won't get ripped off. But also
All
yesterday I took the address of the old Rumble House off our page, which kind of hurt.
Oh, yeah.
And then because like it's going to be a barbershop now, and wow, this is funny because I always tell my kids not to do rough copies because you put your love and power into the rough copy, and then your actual painting ends up being a disappointment. But I find actually doing practice copies of things really informs my yeah, we need a post box and then we can mail things. And also, like, it just seems like kind of like my dad had a post box in the 70s. You know, it's like
and P.O. box.
I think like the P.O. box was kind of like where you had your like spy stuff or whatever, you know, like
Yeah.
yeah. Or like when I opened up that I have, it's just over there. I could bring it down later. I have a light bright set. It was right off the assembly line of the first 50 made in the 1960s. And this guy that worked for Mattel in Quebec had dislocated arm. Oh.
Why are you reaching like that?
Because I'm that way. I am that way. Okay.
Can I put the comments back on here?
Yeah, put the comments back on.
So,
Oh, that's good.
to do with the, oh, wow.
What is wow? What?
That just looks really great.
Yeah, is this high enough resolution?
Yeah.
That looks kind of pixelated on that machine. Should I zoom in?
No, it doesn't.
Yo, zoom in on me. Okay. Wow, that was super exhausting. I need to rest for a second. You know what? This is funny. But you were totally right. I need to be doing this in blue. What are you laughing? What are you laughing at me? What were we saying?
We're saying a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah. So if we have a post box, then like people could mail us things like corks and things. And I don't mind if people know where we live. We'll probably have everyone over at some point. But it is kind of maybe a good practice to not give our exact home address out as much as I do. It's not hard to find. I think you could track it through my book as well, because on different pages I gave different sort of unintentional clues on how to find where we actually like door to door live. And then, you know, so like actually early on in Felix's life, I gave him some coaching on like what to do if anybody tried to abduct him. Like, are you the famous Teru boy? And he was just going to start kicking, screaming, Rumble House, Rumble House. So parent of the year. Felix can't be with us tonight, but he will be with us most nights.
Oh, Scott says we're as good as it gets on an 88-inch flat screen.
Oh, Scott, that makes me so happy. So we will be featuring other artists if they want to contact us and show their work. And then if somebody's watching and they want to buy a piece of artwork, you can connect with that artist directly. So I think I put the link up that if you'd like to link in with us, you can. And then especially if you're an artist and you have a webcam, it'll give you some instructions on how to get online there. And I'm sitting funny because I damaged myself, or because I'm just jaunty like that.
You don't need to
Can I
explain.
have a kiss?
Yeah.
You're so pretty.
Okay.
No, I am sitting funny. And so yeah, if artists want to, and like actually we realize we're probably going to completely rebuild, right? Because there was maybe that bit of that gambling addiction when people were auctioning, and we don't want that to go away, but we're also kind of moving in a more wholesome kind of giving. And you know what I really liked?
What?
I'm all over the place. I really liked when we looked, first of all, I really liked when we're looking up the 7 deadly sins to recognize and realize how similar they were with the different world religions. I like that a lot. It just reminds me how we're all the same.
Yeah.
And the other thing I really liked was, for me, I'm always flipping it to the positive. And so we flipped it to the positive, and you don't recall off the top of your head, do you, what they were?
Patience.
Purpose. Respect. Yeah. What else?
Purpose. Respect. Authenticity.
These are all
Generosity.
everything that we've built our lives on so far. So that was very, very, very affirming. Not to say like, oh, I'm the opposite of a sin, but to find that my virtues that I live by personally consistently kept coming up against the opposites of the sins that we wanted to talk about. And then that was kind of an independent thought I was having before. I was like, how am I going to talk about this funny thing? I guess that kind of went over really fast on the on that quick video, but how the sins that we look at, like in each of the world religions, seem to line up so purposefully with the
social media
platforms that we use. So like sloth would be Netflix, and greed could be Amazon. And I was warned I should change the names to Flamazon and Fletflix or something so that I don't get sued. But it's just interesting because lust, I won't get into lust. You can talk about the dating apps or the sites that show like not appropriate videos. Pride would be Facebook, right? Was vanity one? And there should be something like
Instagram.
Is vanity one of them? I don't think vanity is one of them, but that might be Instagram and
Pride, I think.
Well, pride would be
vanity.
Yeah. But I think wrath would be like Twitter or X, right? People like freaking out and sharing their thoughts. So I thought that was really kind of an interesting thought to compare how. And I mean, one of the things I like about world religions and all religions is how they always seem to facilitate survival. Like there was a Tibetan religion where the wives would take 2 husbands, and then on the plains there would be these marriages where a husband would take many wives, and those were religious-based decisions. But they were also like in Tibet where they needed to keep the population down. It made a lot of sense for one female to have 2 husbands, and then on the plains of the desert where it's important to have a big family, one husband taking 2 wives. So it's interesting how like your appendixes and the body parts that evolve and de-evolve, and how we have 5 fingers. In a lot of ways, what keeps certain cultures surviving was their religions. You know, like even like beyond religions, or not beyond religions, but coming up to religions, it'd be like, let's say if you're talking about people's superstitions, there's a lot of superstitions that would help you live longer. Like, you know, don't walk under a ladder is bad luck because you'll, get hit by something, or putting your hat on the bed even is like, well, then you're going to squish your hat, right? And they used black cats the same way as those parties where everybody dressed up in white, or white after Labor Day to separate like the in and the out, right? Like if you're in on the joke, you knew that you didn't wear white after Labor Day. And if you're out of the joke, if you were new money, you might end up wearing white in November, and people would all know that you're didn't come from old money. So I'm not saying I support these ideas. I'm just saying that they're interesting how
they evolve.
superstitions, and then I don't want to lump superstitions with religions because I think religions are more important, but how the superstitions really hindered or helped the growth of societies and either worked on inclusion or exclusion. I'm interested in that. Alrighty. Does anybody want to join us? If you want to join us, what you would do is I'm going to go invite, copy. I'm going to put a post here. So much easier the way we set the computers up tonight.
Yeah.
You can click on that Isle of Roux. It's HTTPS, StreamYard, FND, JW, WHRJ, whatever. And that'll help you log in to speak to us. Should you like to speak to us?
You can also text or message.
403-629-7424 if you'd like to text or message us. Gina did by memory. She had us memorized because we don't have the number up anymore. And she was able to text us and say, the camera is fine. And the sound is fine. And Jess, you so fine. And yeah, I was kind of tempted to email Richard Cox and try and get him in tonight because we haven't heard from him in a while. But I also think it'd be pretty nice for him to get this as a surprise.
I think so too.
A surprise. Do I dare try and move this again? I should really go off screen while I'm doing this. Oh, there we go. It's nice to be drawing right-handed again.
Yeah.
How weird would it be if I tried to show another puppet video?
I think we should spread them out a little bit more. Okay.
You saying you don't? Well, we're actually quite into the night.
I once got kicked out of a buffet. I said, but it's all you can eat. They said, yeah, not all we can make.
The canned laughter is really good.
Really?
Yeah.
You should not encourage me.
It's really good.
I do apologize for the canned laughter, and my wife is enabling me, so you can blame her for that. But yeah, I did put the canned laughter in, and I might need to. They're a bit choppy, so I might need to rethink that part a little bit.
Just the laughter or the videos?
I have a really good feeling about this Richard Cox and Terry painting. I'm pretty happy with this.
I'm very glad.
Where it's going. Because they're both such, so the picture I have of Richard it's such a dark image, not like gruesome, but like dark in the sense that it's like hard to see a lot of stuff. And then I wanted to take the picture of Terry was quite light, but what I noticed was that Richard had commented that he really liked Terry's picture when he saw it. So I figured, oh, well, that'll be a nice combination of these two pictures. But to try and put them in the same space, I used Photoshop, which is, I'd like to think, a little more ethical than, say, ChatGPTing it or using an AI image maker. But I did Photoshop this image that I'm working from to try and put them in the same vein, try and put them in the same color scheme. And actually, I got Terry kind of more distressed, and I got Richard almost invisible. So there was good and bad, right? Like I did find a happy medium where they looked like they belonged in the same image, but I also lost so much detail. So what you have to do is instead of trying to draw this face, you just kind of sink into the shadows, and you got to just trust the process. And that is something I learned through silk screening. When you're trying to break something into just two colors, two tones. I don't know if I said this already. I had to go get physio at the university. And I'll tell you a little bit about my big cry when I went to university. But I didn't think I was going to go to university. And then when I got into university, it was kind of like a long, backwards, funny mistake. And when I got there, I walked into the bookstore. I thought, who buys like university paraphernalia? Like maybe if you go to like York or somewhere like really high up, but I'm like the U of C looking at the hoodies thinking, do I need one of these hoodies? And I ended up buying a coffee cup, and I think I almost passed out. I was so happy when I had a coffee cup from the University of Calgary. And then somebody broke it.
What?
It wasn't you.
We didn't break it?
My other University of Calgary cup?
You had another cup? Oh.
Just the way I'm telling you.
Oh.
This is like when I went to UC,
Oh.
and I had that cup for quite some time, and then I took it to Father Skolin,
Oh, I see.
and there's this thing where your cup ends up on somebody else's desk. And I was waiting for my cup to make it back into rotation of the dishwasher. Do you have a cup?
No.
Would you like a kombucha?
No, I'm okay.
Why do I call it kombucha when there's clearly an O? Kombucha. Okay. We ate cake. We drank some kombucha. I won't confuse my kombucha with my water. So, what do you look like? Sorry. I think that was some kids in the hall. I have seen some comedy, haven't I?
Did you finish your U of C story?
That my cup got broken?
Yeah.
I think so. I was just telling about how
You
I
had
didn't think I was going to go to university. And then I was telling this story also today when I went for physio because I was looking at the Katie painting sculpture.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I made it clear in my post, but I was thinking a lot of really big thoughts. And take the step back a step. I used to teach a kid who was the son of David Milgaard. And while I was teaching this kid, Gord Downey passed. And Gord Downey was partially, involved in the same way that Bob Dylan was involved in freeing Hurricane Carter. The song about David Milgaard was part of what got him the recognition he needed for a fair trial. David left prison and became, I think, some kind of preacher, and got married. And I had an opportunity to teach one of his children. And I remember driving to school thinking about this kid and listening to Gord Downey on the radio thinking, that's just crazy because if things hadn't worked in the right order, that kid wouldn't exist, right? And similarly, my mom had no interest in coming to Canada to visit my Uncle John. But she did really like Katie when she was in London because my mom was a sculpture major and a welder. And so it so happened that, my grandparents got it in their head that she was going to come to Canada to visit my Uncle John. And she's like, not really. She told me a number of times she wasn't that crazy about coming here. She happened to come here because she was curious about Katie to some extent, not entirely, but that was one of the deal breakers. And then when she got here, she met my dad, got a job, stayed here for the rest of her life. And had my mom not had a passion for Katie I wouldn't have been me. I'd be somebody completely different. My half of me would be in England, and I'd be no more like me than my twin brother would be me or my sister would be me. I would be a completely different being with a different father, living in a different country. We'd have never met. And that's what I think of when I see that sculpture. And my mom would often say to me about that sculpture, like, this is what got me to Canada, or part of what got me to Canada, a good part of what got me to Canada. And without this sculpture, maybe you wouldn't have existed. It was a kind of a heavy thought to have with my mom to share and talk about stuff like that. She really loved science fiction, though, right? And I actually was thinking about that the other day. We're watching that horrible science fiction film. And I was thinking, you know what? Like, I got my love for science fiction through my mom. I think my mom, her liberal mindset was what got her excited about science fiction, because it was always these science fiction writers were finding ways to get through to people through stories that told stories about just how badly, say, one robot would treat another robot. I'm fidgeting because I also hurt my leg when I hurt my arm. Dropped the Enfield bullet, caught it on ice with one arm, did a Daffy Duck dance, dislocated my shoulder, hyperextended my leg and either ripped or tore or pulled a muscle in the back of my leg, and then managed to get the motorcycle upright again. It didn't fall over. I don't know why I keep saying that, like that's important. And then realized I dislocated my shoulder. And so my friend Neil put it well. He's like, all I hear is motorcycle in December, and that's the end of it. And so, and I was telling Jess, she ended up getting us an ambulance. You got to ditch the helmets, because you can't go into the hospital with motorcycle helmets in December. They'll put you at the very farthest end of the line. And there really is, like, CBC Dr. Raj was talking about that the other days. They asked them, like, if there's one thing we could get people to stop doing, what would it be? And a lot of the doctors say motorcycle riding. And I think they mean a different kind of motorcycle riding than what we do. We do this kind of granny putt-putt down the street, and I'm so super uber careful. But Dr. Raj was saying he didn't want to contribute to that negativity, because what it ends up doing is creates kind of a this
Like
dislike
hostility?
culture, against people and their sporting events. So he said he doesn't ride motorcycles, but he has friends that ride motorcycles, and he didn't want to contribute to that sort of judging people, because really, he said they should treat the patients like they're people, and that nobody's going to hurt themselves on purpose.
Yeah.
And
That kind of goes to what we were talking about this week too, though. The idea of accepting different people's interests and kind of having patience with all people.
Love for everything. Yeah, patience. Keep saying that. I had a really nice first day back at school today. Alrighty. What color next, Jessica? This is something I like to do. The tube lines. And this was on such nice 1970s. Somebody donated it to us. Watercolor paper that I felt markered up, and then I gessoed over. So the really nice eggy quality that comes with the gessoed paper is a little lost that I covered it with the gesso, but it's actually not that lost, so that I can kind of smell that egginess again. Is that a fun thing to miss?
It's pretty sweet.
Yeah. Can I zoom out? I don't know. Can I? Do I really need to be this zoomed in? That went so much better than the rest of my experiments with that. Do you want to try and get your loopy-loo on? Just hold it right up here. Or you can actually hold it there.
Oh, this makes sense.
This is a nicer camera if you hold it there.
This makes sense with tonight too, because I'm using Richard from Illinois' hand spun and hand dyed yarn, and then this is a symbol. I don't know how to say it. It's Welsh. Awen. It's AWEN.
It probably sounds like you're throwing up. It'd be like Awen, or something like that. Like
Nice.
it might be just Awen.
So
Awen. I don't know.
It means inspiration.
Maybe. You know who used to do all the great fact checking for us?
Gina.
I bet you Gina could tell us how to pronounce it.
I liked listening to the Mabagagnon
Abba-gabba-doo?
on audiobook.
Yeah.
That was good, because then you could learn a lot of those names.
Yeah. Like Ian and Haikayan and Luchen and all those things. Maybe it's not funny that I'm making fun of
I was
people
like, would
that
your
watch.
mom be upset that you're
My mom doesn't speak Welsh. She's from the south of Wales, And so, like, in a way, like, my mom spoke Welsh the way I speak French, kind of a conquered people story. And so, I bet you I'm the only person on this feed. I might be the only person in this country that saw the movie Twin Town. I think you and I tried to watch a bit of it and you got angry. But I really enjoyed it, especially for like the accents. My mom has a very thick accent, but I can't hear it at all. And then my aunt has an accent, and I can hear my aunt's accent, but I can't hear my mom's accent. I can hear my mom's accent after she's talked to my aunt or anybody else who's Welsh, but it almost feels like she's putting on an affectation. But it's just that my ear is like, it's interesting to watch that disappear and go away. Because it absolutely isn't something my ear picks up, but people would often say to me, "Oh, your mom has such a thick Welsh accent." So I'm just resting my arm.
No, that's.
Are we having a bit of a lull? Do we need a puppet interlude? Or have you seen enough puppet interludes for your entire lifetime? The sound's not great on the puppets. Am I right about that? What was the last one I put on? 4 or 3? Do you remember? Here's 5.
I told a friend I was feeling a little jealous.
Jealous doesn't look that good on you.
Yeah, neither does your haircut, but here we are.
That's so funny. Like, the funny part is 100% me thinking I'm funny. Right? Like, it's funny because I think I'm funny. Kevin, my drama friend, keeps giving me advice on how to make them funnier, but I'm afraid that if I make them funny, they'll be less funny because I think what's actually funny is the fact that they're not funny and that I keep doing them.
People say I'm getting a little too gluttonous.
Jeff's.
I say, that's not true. I don't even like snacks.
I love snacks.
No, that's funny. I do not apologize for that. Those are good yucks.
That's really funny. Hi, Jeff. It's so nice to see you.
What do you think of the Isle of Roux so far, Jeff? It's just funny we do it, or?
Yeah, also, we're going to keep plugging away at how to build a little bit more of the conversation back and forth with different people if they want to join in.
Right.
Because, like, sometimes Jessica's tired, and then I know I'm not helping you talk very much.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
I think there'll be a natural progression as people sort of feel the inclination to join us.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be great if anybody at home wanted to share their artwork, because if you share your artwork, you can keep 100% of your art sale. We'll just connect you with the buyer that wants it. It reads that there's 10 people online here, but there's actually numbers coming in all over the place now. So that's actually pretty reassuring because there might be 10 on this, 9 on this link, and then other links might have 4 or 20 or whatever. So there's probably a pretty good body of people watching. What is missing is the somebody just having the gumption to click that StreamYard link and join us. I'm not trying to bait you into it. I'm just saying. Alrighty. This is actually kind of nice just as is. Mm-hmm. I could probably stop this at any time and then just try a second one. But I think what I'll do.
What's your philosophy on that? When you see a piece, we've talked about that at Rumble a lot, like when to know when you're done. But,
I found a great video about it today where this lady was talking about how to know when you're finished. And it was more of a teacher talking to students about like, how do you know when you're finished? And I think she was dealing with some of the frustrations we have as the kids will often tell us like, oh, no, I'm done. It's like, I don't think you're done. And then actually it bothers me more the way it's fine to say I'm taking a break from this. It's fine to say like I'm done with this for now.
Mm-hmm.
But like when they say definitively this work is done and it's just started, it's kind of like, you know, like that's a conversation we have. Like you're using the school materials, and I'm responsible for some outcomes, and you haven't done anything new in this drawing, so maybe it's too soon for you to say you're done.
Mm-hmm.
It's not too soon for you to say I'm going to take a break from this and work on something else. That's totally valid. But so I put this video on, and she had two concepts that she liked to focus on. One was composition and the other was value. She said those are two things you can often work on to make something seem more done, is composition and value. And then she kind of goes into like how a lot of young people often want to stop too soon. And I thought it was really empowering to share that from another voice, because she was able to sort of say what I was trying to say without it feeling like just, you know, like maybe it did sort of, why do I keep using this shirt for? I need a cloth. Not right now. I'm just saying I need that to be a thing in my life. Oh, maybe I do need a cloth. Hold on. Oops. That's not good.
It might have
Broken
exited out
What? Okay, can you
on this screen. It's just
Yeah.
hold on.
Here, that's this. Just take
Oh,
this. Yeah,
no.
that's fine.
Yeah.
Good. How's the battery on the camera?
How would I? Oh, one is gone.
1 bar?
1 bar.
It's got 2 bars left. I 100% could just plug that camera in. I just kind of like the using of the batteries, and it's kind of a neat thing to kind of juggle and keep intact. But it does leave us with those funky TV color bars every now and then. So yeah, when that gets down a bar, you know what I can do is I'll show another video. You were kind of mad at me when I wrote those jokes, and then
It turned out it was just low blood sugar.
well, and then when we recorded them, the jokes that you liked the least ended up being the funniest. And there was a point there where Felix fell down on the floor in hysterics, laughing.
That was really fun.
And so my excuse for the audience is anything my son finds so funny, you're going to have to just live with, whether it's funny or not. It's just going to be part of your life, because the joy of crafting those jokes was interesting to me and new, because that's not my thing, writing comedy. And my brain felt so well exercised after because I basically pounded out 14 jokes in about 2 hours. I was quite pleased with myself. And then I showed Jess, and she's like, And it took her a while to say that they weren't funny. But then when we made them into puppet videos, they ended up being quite a bit more funny. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure that they translated well onto the live feed, because I think the sound wasn't great. But we can work that out.
Yeah.
And I personally am kind of embarrassed about the laugh tracks, because that was some certain overkill on my part. But
I think the laugh tracks are funny.
Yeah, so it's weird, right? Like we can't get any consensus on what's funny. It kind of reminds me of when I was in art school. I'd go to my crits, and there'd be like the 5 most important instructors in your life just staring you down. And they usually liked you quite a bit, but the idea of the crits was that they were going to terrorize you. And I remember quite vividly, I'd go to the crits, and I was open to any criticism. Like I was just like, I'm paying to be here. Please help me learn something new. And I just remember one after the other, they would contradict each other. So if I'd had 5 elements in my paintings, the first guy would be like, oh, I don't like this, but I do like this. And then the second person would be like, I do like this, but I don't like this. And then somebody might be like, oh, you're all wrong. I like this, this, and this, but I don't like that. And I found it really super disheartening that they were so lacked harmony in terms of their critiques, because it really took my confidence out of what I needed to change, right? Like if 2 people liked one thing and hated the other, it gave me no confidence in removing that from my work. I think if I had any sort of consensus, I would have felt like I was using my time better, but it just felt like getting ripped around in circles. And I think to some extent that was the plan, was they're just preparing you for when you graduate and have that first show and the critics tear you apart. But then we found out years later that there are no critics, right? Like, it's a myth. It's just the boogeyman. Just something to be scared of. Because really, nobody's been a critic since they shat upon Vincent van Gogh, right? Nobody wanted to take that risk of saying this is good or this isn't. Because, you know, history is going to remember when the critics were wrong, right? So nobody really wants to go down that path. Get some more light on this. All right, so this is going to become way more abstract, and it's going to have the virtues, and it's going to have all kinds of cool stuff. Right now it needs to dry for a minute. I misread the Jeff. Tell me if I made this obvious. I thought that was Jeff Watt. And did I say anything that would have sounded like I was talking to Jeff Watt?
Hi, Jeff.
I didn't say,
Click the
hey,
button.
remember when we went to university, Jeff, or anything like that? Okay, Jeff, it's good to see you.
Yeah.
I just realizing now that I saw Jeff and the V, and I just blended it into half of a W. And I think maybe there's a bit of a corner in front of that, like I was leaning this way, and I cut it off. But it's interesting that now I'm feeling blessed to have two friends join me, even though one of them was just in my head.
That's nice.
Yeah, isn't it? What are some virtues that you would say that Richard and Terry had? Because their love was apparent.
I think open-mindedness.
Their generosity was huge. Yeah.
So Richard's art collection was like really a beautiful exploration of like a mix of outsider art, punk rock, 1970s, like kind of punk sensibilities.
This was a bit of a story. Sorry, can I interrupt just for a
Oh
second?
yeah, and then Scott has something cool to say. So you talk and then we'll read Scott's. Nice.
Okay.
That's actually kind of what Rich says too.
Yeah.
I always want to stop too early, and then he's like, well, if you push it further, you'll like learn more.
Yeah.
So,
I try and ruin every painting at least once.
yeah.
Richard invited us to, or just let us know that he was having an art show in Illinois. We were very happy for him. And a year into his planning, he let us know that he was also planning to put my work in with the show. So we had a co-show, me and Richard in Illinois. So we flew there as a surprise to go see. You know, we ended up seeing the closing of the show, not the opening, which was still pretty okay. And then what happened was we got to Richard's house, and his house was just loaded with my art, and they were my good paintings. And I was like, okay. I thought he put my stuff in his show, but he just meant he pulled his stuff out, my stuff out while he was setting up for a show. Because I was like, it's impossible that I'm part of his show. Because all my work was just crushing his house. And I was like, I was actually kind of like, wow, I did that. Like I was impressed with the art that I had in the house. So I didn't say anything, but I was kind of like confused about what we're actually doing until we got to the show, and half the room was more of my stuff. So he bought so much stuff from us during the COVID that he had enough to put up an art show, plus another whole art show in his house. And that was really sweet. And what really stuck in my mind is, and this is weird because we have these weird crossovers with things. Like I went to Venice Beach, and one of the teachers I worked with jogged by me in the morning. She's like, Rich, what are you doing here? We went to the art show, which was across the street from the train station. And we were early because they were opening up the studio for us to go in for a private viewing. And this plastered guy who was going to the football game shows up with a Mickey of, what was it?
Fireball.
Yeah, and it was like kind of a rare, you didn't see it every day. And he's drinking out of this Mickey, and he's like, you want a drink? And Jess and I were newly sober, I think, yeah? And Richard wasn't, so he's like, I'll have a drink, and he had one. And then he was kind of embarrassed about taking the drink because it was like 7 in the morning or so, or 10 in the morning. And then he kept explaining to us that he didn't really want the drink, but he didn't want that poor fellow to feel like separate or outside in any other way. And I thought that was really super sweet. Also, like who drinks out of a bottle from a complete stranger, right? Like there's some, whatever. Badassness for sure. And then strangely enough, unrelated to the story. So that was just the love that he carried. Then we went to the Natural History Museum, and the football game was on. And we saw the same bottle sitting on the road right next to the train station. We're like, did that guy get on the train, drink the rest of this bottle, and then just drop
Get
it with?
off. Yeah.
Maybe there could be more than one bottle, but it was just funny that the 2 bottles I saw on the trip were the exact same. And we did know that that guy was making his way to the
It
football
is
game.
funny, yeah.
And we were going to the Natural History Museum, which was right next to the football stadium. But strangely enough, and what was the chances of me wearing like orange and blue? Like I had the right colors on, but otherwise, like those football fans were like hardcore, like not inclusionists, I'll just say the least, right? Like, do your football walk so we fit in. We're walking the wrong direction, and everybody was like, why walk the wrong way? You know, it was like the craziest. So yeah, I was like, I hope they get a long bomb. I actually played football, so it's not really authentic for me to pretend I don't know football terminology. That's not the truth.
This is really fun. I got this
Did I tell all that story? I do have a problem with starting stories and not really.
collection of
Finishing
embroidery tools, and this is it's wax.
Isn't
and so instead of putting the thread in my mouth all the time, I can wax the thread.
All right. So when do we send this to Richard? Do we send him the photo and surprise him, or do we we could maybe send a link to him right now, and he might be able to get in and join us. Or do we do, because like the formula is we're going to surprise people with these acts of kindness, but it doesn't always have to be the same. Do you want to try and send a link to Richard and see if you can find him somehow? Because I kind of miss him.
Oh.
I am not good with surprises, by the way. I'm like, I will spoil the surprise every time.
It's not really a spoil because it's very sweet. I don't know what you're doing too.
Do you want to do that? Do you want to see if you can go to Facebook and send him a link to this? It would really make my day if he joined us. You're like, I'm not doing anything that's off the plan. Okay. What are my words? Do you remember?
Yes. Like the new words?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have them written down?
Yeah.
Word. With proper spellings. Time. What's the X word again? Spelling.
Xeno.
Zeno. Yeah.
PH. I.
Hang on. I gotta go slower because I hurt my arm.
Oh, sorry.
P. H.
ILI.
ILI.
A.
A. And then a word that always goes in is love. So if not clear, the reason our first puppet fell in love with an alien was because it fit in with our theme for tonight. Are you flipping through stuff? Should I put up a puppet video?
No, I got it.
Oh my God, how many puppet videos are there?
Authenticity.
Quite a few.
Generosity.
Did we do this? Laugh 6?
No, we did 5 last.
People say I'm getting a little too gluttonous.
I think we did.
Oh, we did.
Let's do another one. So these are for my mental health. These are not for your laughing humor. These are because like I find writing.
I heard lust is one of the 7 deadly sins. It's also the reason I got kicked out of the library. I kept checking out the same book over and over and over again.
I'm just checking you out.
That goat is so sassy. Do you want the good words?
The good words, yeah.
Authenticity.
Oh, I'll need you to spell that one for me. Now, I want to be clear. I know how to spell authenticity. However, when I'm writing it into a painting, I often
U.
Yeah.
T.
Yeah.
H.
Hang on.
E.
Just a second. TH.
Yeah.
E.
E.
Yeah.
N.
N.
T.
T.
I.
I.
C.
C.
I.
I.
T. Y.
T. Y. The authentic city. Yeah?
Yep.
What's another word?
Generosity.
Right. Let me get the screen going.
G.
Just a second. Trying to figure out where G.
E. N.
Yeah.
E.
Just a second. Watch this. Watch this wordplay. Gene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
R.
Yeah.
O. SITY.
Now, why is authenticity
With
and
a
generosity, one is a C and the other is a,
S.
yeah, why is that?
Because the people who wrote English were mean.
Okay. And then it also did the play off of Gen X.
Ooh, I like that.
I know, because I like to do wordplay. Okay, what's another one?
Respect.
Respect. Yeah.
RESPECT.
Okay. What else we got?
Gratitude.
Gratitude. I love it.
The opposite of envy.
You know what I don't have in this set is GRATI
T.
T
U.
U
D.
D
E.
E. I also like the thought of gratitude and gravity. The gravity of gratitude. And also having a grave attitude. Sorry, that's a lot of stuff.
That's good.
Are there more?
Mindfulness.
Okay, hold on.
The opposite of gluttony.
Right.
MINDFUL.
Yeah.
NESS.
Okay. There is a little of the egginess left in this paper. You can only smell it when it gets wet. But yeah, when it gets wet, you can kind of smell this egginess, which is pretty darn intriguing.
Patience and purpose.
Patience.
I'll look at the spelling this time.
Yeah. P.
PAT.
Yeah.
IE.
IE.
NCE.
NC. Patience.
Yeah.
And purpose.
Purpose. PUR.
PURPOSE. Purpose. I did it on purple. Okay. I think this might be a finished piece of art. And I've got 813. So what should I do? Jesse T. Roux.
You have another piece of paper?
I do happen to have another piece of paper. Okay. So we're going to send this to Richard from Illinois. I better take a picture of it because that's all I'm going to have left after this project is photos. Does it need more work or am I done?
I think it's really beautiful.
Okay.
That's the hard part about you asking me that too, is like
You approve of everything I do.
I'm like, wow, that's incredible. And then you do something more. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Kelly.
How do you spell Terry?
Oh, shoot.
T.
ER. I think it's TERRY. Yes, TERRY. Okay.
Okay. I think this is done.
It's beautiful, Rich.
Yes. Dot, dot, dot. Oh, I got to take a picture of it. Okay, here we go. Okay. That's going in the mail. I did try and get your mom to come tonight so that she could, well, not your mom, I should say Delivery Debbie.
Did you talk to her?
Yeah, she said she'd come soon, but I don't think she could come tonight.
Okay.
Wow, you know what? I really like the Isle of Roux artwork so far.
I'm glad.
Ooh, ooh. Huh. We're mailing it away. It would be interesting to have a show at some point, though. This is
You
a good one.
You could print photos.
We could print photos, couldn't we? All right, got 10 people with us.
That's amazing.
Here we go. I'm not going to use this anymore. Should I send them? I'll also send them my
Drawings.
sketches. I
That's
think.
nice. So I like this symbol. It was kind of the idea of inspiration, the idea of past, present, and future.
Should I also send with Terry? I cut you off.
That's okay.
Should I also send Terry the
Compass?
compass?
It's up to you.
It kind of fits.
Yeah.
Okay, let's put that there. And then I haven't been able to find anybody that wants a Muppet painting.
I can bring that into my class if you.
Okay, but let's think of another reason to get somebody to want the Muppet painting, because it needs a home. And that's maybe a bit of a problem we have with the Isle of Roux, is that I'm going to end up with too many paintings if people don't take my paintings away. Come take my paintings, please come take my paintings. Alrighty. Starting out fresh, brand new idea. Okay. No pressure. We thought we would go till about 9:30 with these babies because that happy birthday, Kelly. Oh, happy birthday, Jesse. Muppets music just fit in my space. Well, Scott, here's the deal, okay? Where are you, Scott? What I want from you, and this is just to break the ice. Is for this painting, what I would love from you is, if you should be so bold, this would be a trade. Now, if you're not into this trade, I'm probably going to give it to you anyways. But what I'd love you to do is click this and show us your face. Click where it says Rumble House, StreamYard, and then you'll get a prompt. Make sure your pants are on, and then your face will pop up. Because right now, our whole world is this little white dot on the camera. And so we're lonely and we miss you. And last week was pretty wonderful because we do get the feedback in the sidebars. But what we need isn't money. It's just love.
Oh.
Yeah. Please. Oh, yeah. I'll paint one of the Soul Sisters. Can you show me? Hey, put your face on the screen and show me the Soul Sisters so I remember what to paint next. Because I got currently another 40 minutes to paint. So, but I can't quite remember what they look like. So you're going to have to join us to show me. This is going to be like pulling teeth, getting people to join us. Has Scott been online before? I'm going to go on strike until somebody joins us. Or play more puppet videos. Oh, what's this? A message. There's two Scotts, but either one of you would. I'd love it if you come on. So Scott Blaskin was talking about a triptych, and then Scott K also are. I'm losing people. That's what I do. I lose people. Nobody's coming. Okay, that's it. You get another puppet video. That'll be my. What was the last one? We thought it was.
That one. The next one. Yeah.
There's 2 7s. That's just the way I count.
I know someone who's so proud, he says, I never make mistakes.
What about the time you dated your cousin?
Well, We'll just call that a learning experience.
Scott said, I'm trying.
That's cool. No, there's no rush, Scott. Take your time.
I asked a guy, what's the difference between love and lust?
About $300 at dinner. Ah!
Gosh. I don't even get that one, but it's funny. Like I wrote it, but I don't entirely know what I'm saying. I've had to like sort of think my way through that a few times. Okay, Scott, we're being patient. I'm just going to wait for you to pop in here because oh, there you are. Ah, this is such a huge moment for the Isle of Roux. I'm just going to remove this for a second because I think this is important. Scott, this is the most huge moment for us. It's episode number 2. Did anybody come on last week?
Not from there.
Okay, may I present to
Oh,
you?
Kelly was on from yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scott, there you are. Hi.
Yay!
You have no idea how happy we are to see you.
So awesome.
Or maybe you do have an idea.
Nice to see you, Scott. Nice painting.
Okay, so this is yours now. Happily, I would have given it to you anyways, but now you've like, I feel very honored and supported. Thank you. And then show me the pictures that you'd like, and I'll start
Okay,
with.
so, all right. So the
Yeah, those sisters. Yeah. And how big are they? Do they need to be? Are they the same size? Okay. And you need a third.
hold on a sec. Hold on.
Yep. Gosh, you're pretty. Am I more in focus than you? Hi.
I love this.
This is super interactive. Yeah. 5.5 by 7, I bet you. Wouldn't that make a lot of sense? 5 by 7?
Hold on. Hold on. Well, so this other one's smaller. This one is 5 by 7.
And the other one was
And the bigger one, which is that really funky bass player gal from the Blues Fest,
Yeah.
where she was playing with her whole family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that.
That one is 5.5 by 8.5.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
I will make, I think that 5 by 8 you could probably trim down if you wanted to. And then, I'll make it 5 by 7. So it's the same. And I'll make it landscape. And then, so you have 2 on the side and 1 in the middle. I think those ladies need a drummer. Does that make sense to you?
No. Oh, I can't hack away at any piece of a tarot work. Me.
Do you have a suggestion? I might have missed if you had a suggestion.
So what? Hey,
you know where my ruler is, don't you, Jesse?
Ruler.
You have a ruler?
Here, you come back, and I'll go look for the ruler.
No, I just thought you knew where it was because
No.
it doesn't look where I would have put it.
this is a super swank setup you kids got going on here.
Oh, do you want to see what it actually looks like?
I saw that. So I don't know. I don't know. Like, I mean, I'm not quite sure who those guys. Ooh, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
So it's
Hey, has anyone wished David Bowie a happy birthday?
Oh
every
yeah,
day of my life.
every
is
day of
David
my
Bowie.
life. You're right. Happy birthday, David Bowie.
Well, and Elvis Presley was 90 years old today.
Oh,
Oh, you know what that would be then? What year did he pass away? 76 or 73?
I don't know. If you remember the 70s, you weren't there, man.
Well, I remember when Elvis passed. And what I remember was my mom was reading the newspaper.
77.
I was 6 years old. And it must have been a Saturday. The reason I say that is because I was at home and my mom said, "Oh, Elvis died today." And
It was
and
August, so it was over.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, his death, not his birthday.
Death, yeah.
Right. So he passed away, and I said, "Who's Elvis?" And she said, "Oh, some rock and roll singer." And she didn't really mean that because she loved Elvis. And so she took me to Woodward's, and we went to the record department, and I bought the 67 comeback special. And that's when I actually discovered and learned of Elvis on the same day that he passed away. And I had a Mickey Mouse record player that played 45s. So I must have been listening to that record on her wooden Panasonic. But that's when I got to know Elvis, was on the day he passed. My mom took me to the record. And I remember there was two records, because all I was doing back then, I was just looking at the covers, trying to decide which one I liked. And one of the covers had all the Elvises in gold, in a gold suit, like 1,000 Elvises. And the other one was this TV show. So it was a TV broadcast, but it was the album of it. And there's this funny line, and there's like, wait a minute, there's something wrong with my lip. I got news for you, baby. I did 29 pictures like that. And I listened to that 100,000 times. And every time we went to Boston Pizza, I would put like a quarter in the jukebox and play Guitar Man, because they had some Elvis, but not the best Elvis, just the Guitar Man.
Well, hey, Rich, what was the first album you ever bought?
I was 6 and my mom bought me that album. So I don't know if that counts. But I also had a stack of audio records that were like Disney records. So like normally people wouldn't count those records, but like some of them were pretty banging. Like I know I had like the Cruella de Vil song was a jazz
101.
ditty.
Yeah.
And it was like I played that 45 over and over again musically, not because I had an attachment to Disney, but I loved it. The first independent time I went to a record store and bought a record, I was looking for the Rascals because I was kind of into like old 50s music. And that was my experience, as I was listening to like albums that were my mom's, like 24 Happening Hits by the original artists. And when I was looking for the Rascals, I came across the Ramones, and there was just
yes.
Maybe I had a boy crush on Tommy Ramone with his belly button sticking out and that thug life. And I bought the Ramones album, the one where the iconic one where they're like sitting there up against a wall. And I was just like, this piques my interest for some reason. And I went home and I put on the Ramones, and it just blew my mind. And I love the Ramones. I went through a long span of time where I couldn't listen to the radio because it was just like cheesy pop. And I remember even up until high school, I was really like just listening to old music and trying to find stuff that I could connect with, because I couldn't connect with the music that was popular when I was in high school. And my best friend's older brother went to band camp in Montana and came back with some mixtapes of REM. And when I heard I Am Superman, so when you say like what's the first record I bought, my mom bought me Elvis, but I also had lots of little funny kid records. The first record I went out and invested in and experienced on my own was the Ramones. And then the first record that saved my life. And I have a list of records that actually saved my life. One of them was, I didn't want to say last week in front of Felix, but I used to have a situation where as often as somebody thinks about smoking a cigarette, I used to think about jumping off a bridge. And they would hit me sometimes in the middle of the night. I'd be driving around in my Jeep at 4:00 in the morning looking for just the right bridge. I didn't want to like half drive off a bridge and be stuck in a wheelchair or something. So it happened probably around 12 times in my life that I was so misaligned that I was driving around late at night looking for an out, and almost every time, well, obviously every time, not almost every time, the radio would be on and something would just grab me and pull me back. And so I remember Good Vibrations, 3:00 in the morning one night, somebody popped that baby on and it kept me from going off the 14th Street Bridge. And I made a list of them last week. We're talking about records and how vinyl matters to me, but there are a series of records that pulled me back from absolute the brink of destruction. And so I have this gratitude, and you're not supposed to talk about stuff like that if you're a teacher, because I don't want to be like promoting suicidal ideation, but there was a compulsion wired into my brain that just wanted an escape from this existence. And no matter how happy I was, it was something that hit me once an hour from 17 till 30. And I might say 40. I think it was actually around the time I opened Gorilla House that it kind of dissipated. I can't say meeting this one here didn't help me with that either. But yeah, I used to have that like pervasive thought of like, I just need to stop. And
all right. Well, one of the things that I'm working on is I'm actually sort of, now that I'm rolling up on near 60 years old, is I'm actually building a sort of a memoir type thing. Well, I still can. Well, I still got my memory. But It's all driven around music, because music is such a huge and integral part of my life. Yeah. And it's just such a wide breadth. So It's actually, I took this from Jeff Tweedy, who did a song about 50 songs that made me, or something to that title, right? But he talks about 50 songs in his life. And I'm doing the same thing where I'm actually, I had to whittle it down to 50 songs. But each one of these songs, I talk about, what the song means to me, what was happening in my life, and all these sort of things. So it's this really neat little memoir, and then there'll be a volume 2 with the next 50 songs.
Yeah, mine will be 50 songs.
Just being able to capture it, for somebody like me who music is so integrated into my life. So
yeah, that's amazing. That's a great project, Scott.
Yeah. But what it means is putting the song on repeat for about 45 minutes while I just brain dump onto paper. Yeah. All these thoughts that keep flashing back into my head. And, oh, yes, that, oh, this. But it's been a really excellent little journey. So, Jess, what was your first album?
Vinyl?
Well, it doesn't have to be vinyl. What was the first real album?
My first vinyl I went out and bought was Elvis Costello, Blood and Chocolate. But my first CD was Savage Garden. So that shows my age a little. And then I think I bought a Robin cassette tape. So maybe it was first Robin.
What was the
then
song
Savage
on Robin
Garden.
that you liked? What, she had like, that was one of those like musicians that would have had like a one kind of chart topper, and then she wrote her own music. What was? Do you remember what the? I know because I bought that same album for Robin for my Robin.
I can hear the very opening, like.
Give me a piece of it. Did we agree that a drummer is okay for this?
Hey, I'm just happy to just go, oh, yes. Indubitably. But, so, Jess, it's funny that you talk about, you talk about your first CD with a little bit of embarrassment.
Yeah.
Mine was, I'll say, well, the first one was K-Tel, Goofy Greats, which was 24 hits. By the original songs, by the original artist.
Yeah, that's
songs like
hits.
We have that. K-Tel.
Guitarzan, Alley Oop, Wooly Bully. It was all these just wild, crazy songs.
K-Tel did a lot of those albums, hey? Yeah. That was actually, those were really great for finding bands.
Yeah.
And then actually, so that's funny because the reason I was looking for the Rascals is the other thing that was really great for finding bands was movie soundtracks. So I would get like, I think, I don't know if I've ever even seen Animal House, but I ended up getting the soundtrack to Animal House because it was such a great
Otis, my man.
That's how I discovered Otis Redding for sure, 100%.
Yeah.
So good.
And I thought about
my
watching it.
real album, I'll say, would have been Deep Purple, Machine Head.
Yeah.
That's good. That's a good one.
Right. But it's I look back at that and go, wow, that really just doesn't fit in with where I am.
Well, I
love
also
that,
kind
though.
of wonder like how often we like I authentically my first album was Ramones, but I wonder if I blocked out that it might have been like Wham or something. It wasn't.
Right.
But I'm saying like, is there a possibility that I've rewritten my history to
Because
be
Ramones is a badass first record.
Right.
It's just,
Is it possible? Actually, you know what? I did buy a 45 that I'm not proud of. And it happened because when I moved to Calgary, the teenager that lived in my room before me had left one thing in the room, and it was a Styx poster. And if I'm correct, I think Tommy Shaw was a band member of Styx, and I ended up buying Tommy Shaw's Girls with Guns on a 45. And I'm not sure what set me onto that, but I looked it up the other day, and I was like, this is shit. Like, what was I thinking?
They were different times.
Well, and I was a kid, right? You can't really.
You have to try stuff out.
Right? Yeah. So,
Well, and and that's what I say. People say that there's been no good music written since the 80s, right? And it's like, well, but really, dude or dudette, you know what? When you heard that song back, in the 80s, it was a new song to you then.
Exactly.
Right? There's all kinds of fabulous music being written today.
Totally. Yeah.
Right. And then the other thing is, I always thought it would have been amazing the way my mom was able to sit and experience the Beatles albums coming out one by one. But
Wow.
but actually, the rest of your life would have been listening to like, is it Perry Como or something? Like the radio would have been like filled with this schlock of like 2 hours of schlock, and it might be 2 years between albums. So like maybe it's better that we were able to kind of go through them all ourselves. But something that I really appreciate with my mom is she taught me how to listen to the Beatles. So she didn't just, drop me off with Revolver. She started me out on Twist and Shout and kind of worked my way through it. And so that was an interesting experience. But what didn't occur to me is I taught myself to listen to Miles Davis through my mother's record collection. And to be honest, like as a young man, I didn't exactly get why Bitches Brew was so important compared to like some of the other more accessible jazz that he did earlier in his career. That's probably the consistent thing for almost any artist is early on in their careers, they're making this kind of accessible jazz, and then it gets less accessible and more avant-garde. So like it took me like 10 years. I've been listening to jazz since I was a teenager, but sometimes some music is background sound and sometimes it becomes like this core of your existence. And I'm just starting to grow into an understanding of the jazz that I've been listening to my whole life. And it took reading several books, watching a number of documentaries. And there really was a steep learning curve. This is funny. My hand is like kind of continuing the really big hand. There's a kind of a really steep learning curve to what was I supposed to be hearing when I was listening to jazz. And I'm just, and what I really love though is how seamlessly my intentions line up with what it turns out the reality of was intended. When I read about like what was Art Blakey trying to do, it fits so well with what I was hearing, even though there was just the sounds for me to work with. And because I wasn't a trained musician and I was just a guy that really dug the way Art Blakey worked over top of the way that, say, people kept offering me Benny Goodman. Oh, you got to listen to Benny Goodman. I'm like, I don't think that's my thing. And I didn't know why. And then as I learned and read more and discovered more about those guys, just like when we started tonight and we started out with the 7 Deadly Sins, which I don't find very interesting, we flip-flopped them to get what would virtues of those things be. Now, it turns out there are virtues attached to the 7 deadly sins, but we just invented our own. So when we stopped and talked about sloth, then the opposite of sloth would be purpose. Like, hey, that's what we talk about all the time. And then we talked about the opposite of wrath would be patience, and the opposite of greed would be generosity. Correct. So like here we are, we're like constantly, let's take the art selling out of what we do and turn it into a gratitude project. And it was interesting how authentically our interests kept reoccurring in these positive forums. And I think I talked to you about this before. A lot of people told stories about what a monster Miles Davis was, and then so a lot of people end up repeating those stories, like, oh, but did you know he was a monster? And it's like, yeah, for sure he was a monster. But then this one critic was saying, but if you listen to the sensitivity in his songs, then you can acknowledge that he might have been socially a monster, but there's no way he could have played with such sensitivity without being incredibly vulnerable. And he did make himself incredibly vulnerable when he played. And therefore, maybe we need to redefine what we think of as when we call him this like aggressive, abusive prick, because he gave his whole self while playing, and then maybe would like say things that hurt people's feelings afterwards. So it's interesting. It's interesting learning how to see outside. I would say music more so than art. I've been able to see through somebody else's eyes. A step further, though, is like reading, right? Because when you're reading, you actually take on the author's experience and you experience through their eyes, ears, and nose. So where I'm taking in a song through my ears, when I'm reading, I'm digging into another person's head and becoming them for a little while. With their permission, hopefully.
The beautiful thing that you were talking about there with music is how you understand what the music is on a subconscious level.
Intuitively.
And later on, you kind of go, you have that epiphany and kind of go, oh yeah, now I get it.
Yeah.
And it starts to make that more sense.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing a lot with, I'll say, sort of, for the most part, abstract art, where at first glance you look at it and go, okay, yeah, it's kind of neat, and certain things pop out at you, but then as you get sucked into it, then everything starts to explode.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And you start seeing different layers and understanding yourself in different ways. And
a really good piece, a really good record, a really good book, you come back to at different points in your life and you hear things that you didn't hear when you were younger.
And it means something different.
And you become embarrassed of your younger self. So as you're turning 60, I don't know about you, but when I think about Rich Teru at 40, I'm like, that guy didn't know nothing. Or, I meet kids that I taught 15 years ago and they go, oh, Mr. Teru, and I'm like, yeah, but like, got to tell you, Mr. Teru that taught you was only like 30% formed,
Yep.
Humans sang before they talked 100%, Andrew. You know what else I think they did is I think they drew before they talked as well. And it's interesting to sort of try and guess which came first, the singing or the drawing. I might even suspect it's likely that we sang before we drew. But like, I'll tell this to the kids at school, like there wasn't, before language, there was art. Before art, there was song. I really like wrestling and running and playing the drums, all the things I love. We did as the early hominids, and bicycle might be the exception. I like to ride a bicycle, but I really like the lo-fi, and so the instrument I like is like a stick and a stick and something hollow. And the my favorite art tools are like charcoal.
We lost the camera.
Oh, the camera. Okay, so let's just do this.
We're still on. We're just gonna replace
we got 3
the
cameras
battery.
going.
Oh, look at this. Look what's sitting on my coffee table, Jess. I am Jezebel. I am a Phoenician. I worship Baal. If they didn't want me and my God, they should have left us alone. But of course, I was a bargaining chip. I was a pawn in their game. They hate you when you play along, and they hate you when you don't. I was just doing right by my God. I was just doing what I felt was best. What wrote my story? I am now labeled the archetypical wicked woman. Men wrote the story. Again, the monothecists. A pissing contest. Whose God is better? My God is the God of nature.
Scott, did our voices go off when the camera went off?
Yes.
Oh, that's funny. We've been talking to you for
Thank you so much for reading. That's all. I really like hearing that book from other people's voices. It's nice.
Of course, your portrait camera now just has Rich's left eye occasionally.
Which one is that? Is that
The
this?
red, yeah.
How is that?
Yep,
That's
that
really
one.
zoomed in.
Oh yeah, unzoom. Nope. Right, there's that. How did that happen? It's a different camera. So it's got this camera. Is this the newer one?
And maybe it's in 3, the how it's set up on the screen, you have it 3, so then it's like
I can do it
skinnier.
this. Does that work? Or I can do it this.
I like the 3. It's okay.
Do you
No.
feel smaller now?
No, do 3.
Do you want to be here?
Like that.
Got a little Elvis Costello up there for you.
Yes. So good. We Oh, yeah, I can't even believe that I forgot to say happy birthday to David Bowie and Elvis today.
Well, they're dead.
There's so many things to remember.
Yeah, but listen, can I tell you something?
Yeah.
If they can hear us, they don't need to. Right? Because Elvis and David Bowie mean so much to us that like what and I would think if you were in like the other realm and you were able to look down on the earth, something like kind of like right after we dropped the keys off for Rumble, we went for sushi in the old gorilla house, which was forbidden. We would not go into that space because they took our space and turned it over into a sushi bar. And then it's like suddenly I had no attachment to that pain that I carried from losing that building. And we went in and it was super surreal to be there eating sushi in my art gallery. But yeah, it was interesting that like we didn't have that attachment to the pain we carried over losing that space. Because it was quite painful.
Yeah, that one was more painful because we lost it like without any control. So that was.
We also kind of had put our faith in a system. So like I didn't really have the money to sign a lease for that space, but I did. And I lived out that lease, which was difficult and painful. And then when that lease filled out, I said to the landlord, like, what do you want from me? Like, do you want me to sign another lease or would you rather go month to month and we'll just treat each other with respect? And he's like, no, we'll just treat each other with respect and go month to month. And then what happened was the impetus was our neighbors upstairs wanted to move out early. And they said, why don't you take over our lease and then you can have the entire building for this price? Otherwise, the lease will probably go up. And so we contacted the landlord and said, here's this opportunity that we could take over the space upstairs from the gorilla house. And what we would have done is turn the upstairs into a living quarters for about 5 artists that wanted to live above the gorilla house. There'd be studio spaces downstairs. And during the art battles, we'd kind of have I don't want to say VIP space because that's kind of got a tainted sound to it now, but there would be an upstairs party where if people needed to kind of go and decompress, there'd be another space where you could get to, but not necessarily wouldn't necessarily be open to everybody. So when I say VIP, I mean like Oliver could go upstairs and play video games, not like,
champagne and stuff.
Right. Yeah. So anyhow, we had a backup plan. We just basically said to the landlord, if you want us to take over the space, we will. But what I suggested was he try and put it up on the market, raise the rent, and try and get as much as he could for his own sake. And so we kind of left it on this kind of honor system. And then he dishonored us by selling the building. And the new owner's like, he wanted it. The new owner was kind of sketchy. He's like, I really like what you're doing, so I'm going to kick the ski cellar out of the next door and you can have that building. And I was like, well, until somebody else comes along, like that's not, you know what I mean? Like you're showing me how you treat people. So I wasn't crazy about that. And then he said, well, you can have the space till April. And I said, well, it's Christmas break and I'm a teacher. So if we're moving out, we should probably move out right away. And then the current landlord got back to us and said, like, you guys got to be out of there by Tuesday. So we had 2 weeks to blast out of the gorilla house. And that was painful yet exciting. And we were, you know, like Rob Dodds made us buttons that said
F.
fuck sushi. Yeah, it's pretty funny. And those were big days and we had big feelings. And the last day there, the new owner brought us in sushi he's like, here, I just bought your building. Here's some sushi. And I was like, get out of here. You ruined our lives. And Jess was so impressed because she was about to eat the sushi.
I was like, you have so much strength.
Yeah.
I love sushi.
Yeah.
So you need to flip the screen around. I'm tired of being on the big screen.
Okay. How do we do this? How about this?
I'll be Robin to your Batman India. I just don't want to be Batman.
That's how I lost Neil. One day I was talking to Neil and I mentioned that he was the Bert to my Ernie, and he took it personally and he didn't talk to me for a year. I wonder if Neil's with us right now. And by that I mean my Ernie to my Bert, Neil. But I had no idea. Like sometimes we people kind of leave for different reasons or what have you, and so I didn't know that he was wounded. Might not be telling that story right. You can't really take anything I say too seriously. This is your painting. Is it kind of what does it fit with the other ones or does it need something? Let me see the other one again. Yeah, it needs some sort of funky patterns, right? Would you agree?
Yeah.
Do you concur?
So here's the Supremes.
Hey, was I talking to you last week about who sang the 11-12? The number 12 on Sesame Street?
Yes.
That was the Pointer Sisters. Was that something I figured out with you? Somebody and I was talking about, maybe it was Kevin at work. He's like, I wonder who wrote that. And I wondered who'd written it. And then when I looked it up, the writer of that song was the writer for the Pointer Sisters, and the Pointer Sisters had recorded it. Are you kidding me?
Did I just poke you?
No, but I got thread in the ear.
Oh, very close.
I'm glad you think that's funny. It's like Elijah was doing these tricks with a pair of scissors, like butterfly knife tricks. And I thought, man, he must have a lot of confidence to be doing that right at the table here. Because me and my mom and my son were sitting at the table. And I just thought, well, if he's doing the butterfly trick with the knife here, he must have absolute confidence that he could never drop that knife or the blade. And then all of a sudden the blade came flying off his fingers. And my mom looked over and she's like, you're going to put that away. And I remember he just had this scowl and so he's like, you can't tell me what to do. And then I wondered if he was going to stab my mom. And he didn't, thank goodness. But it was an interesting moment where I realized that the world is more complicated than I'd given it credit for.
So, Rich, you see what you're doing with this exact picture? You were talking about it. When is it done?
Yeah.
You said he was done a few brush strokes ago and a few concepts ago, and now you've just moved it a little bit further down the field towards the goal line.
Yeah. How about now, though? Do you think I went too far?
It's a Teru original. That's absolutely nothing to do with me. It's just going to stick with me for the next 35 years.
I would say it was done, but I also wanted to make it fit with the other two. And I think the other two might be a little bit extra. So I made it a little extra.
It's always nice to have that little extra sizzle.
Yeah. Or I should sign it. I've got time for that now in my life to sign things. Ooh, do I have a new signature this year? Let's see.
Oh yeah, 2025 in Roman numerals?
XXV.
XXV.
Nice. That's a good one.
Alrighty.
MMXXV.
Well, I leave that part out.
Oh.
I go THEROUXXV.
XV. Cool. I like that. Oh yeah, 25. Yeah.
The rest is implied.
Right.
Well, we'll have to arrange a dinner.
Oh, that'd be
yeah,
amazing.
that would be so fun.
Did Jesse show you what we're doing?
You're doing a lot of things.
Show him your camera. Ooh,
Oh,
can you take a widescreen picture of it right now? I
A
think it'd be a very
widescreen
short
picture.
Yeah, just of this setup.
Oh, okay. So
Look at the new camera.
it's a, yeah,
Lomography.
it's a widescreen, so it's like it takes two pictures at like two.
Sexy.
Yeah, it's. I'll show you some.
Do you shoot 35 ever? If I asked you this recently and then forgot.
I shoot 35, 40, and medium format.
What kind of cameras do you like for 35 millimeter?
I have Canons. I got Nikons, but I'm a Canon kid.
I have a question for you because I think this might be kind of fun to tinker with. Where did I put it?
It's on the bookshelf, straight.
That's a Canon, but that one doesn't work. Do you know where the
Oh, on the other by the Oliver painting.
No. I think it might have been on the table. It might have just moved in a mad rush. Oh, it's right here.
Can you grab one, like the printout too of the you in
Yeah,
front of the
which one?
records? You in front of the records?
This
That-
is
yeah,
better.
yeah, that one.
Yeah, so we've gone through all kinds of layers of this.
Look, Scott. It's on the sprocket rocket.
Oh,
It takes the pictures over the sprockets.
that is panorific.
Yeah.
What do you think of this, Scott?
Ooh, I like.
It's
I think you showed me that one at the when we were cleaning up.
did I have this one already?
Might
Did I
have
offer
been-
it to you?
No, oh, you just got it. And there was all kinds of lenses and stuff.
That's a different one.
That's a
that would
Pentax.
be this.
Oh,
And so this is my new.
oh, love that sound.
Yeah, I do too, a lot. And what do
So,
I? Hold on a second. So this is going to be my camera. This is my new Pride and Joy, and I have a series of instant cameras as well because I have a problem. So what happened was, and I just opened up my computer when I got back to school, and I had been looking for either a Pentax K1000 or a Nikon. I can't remember which Nikon, but I wanted a 35 millimeter. And the last camera I had, I bought at the camera shop, and the guy called it El Dento because I was like, I want something that's not fancy that I can take photos on and can kind of control myself. And he's like, "Ooh, you want El Dento?" And it was like it was a Nikon with a dent in the canister. And Jess had mentioned to me that her uncle had passed and that he had this old camera, but I don't want that camera. I want like a Pentax K1000. So after exhausting my search, it turned out that the camera her uncle who had passed had left to me is a Pentax K2, which is one step up from the Pentax K1000. So I'm set, right? I got home
beautiful.
and I realized, with everything that we have set up here, I don't know if you can see like the setup, but there's like all kinds of, there's probably right now about 9 of our tripods and monopods all connected to bicycle things. And I realized, with the way the world is set up right now, I am currently 1 tripod short. And so Jess's uncle had another box which was like even more filters and things, this particular camera and the tripod that I was missing. So I ended up with this second camera. Now, let me tell you a little bit about it. It currently has dead batteries that were mercury, and you can hack that because they don't make the mercury batteries anymore, but you can use a modern battery. And you can either put a shim in, like some sort of conductive,
Get an adapter.
or even just you can get an adapter, or apparently you can just do it with. If you're inventive, you can do it with aluminum or something. But if you want to rig a new battery for this, I don't have enough CPU right now to tinker with this camera and the other camera. but I do feel like this camera needs a home. It's a Pentrax. Listen, it's Electro Control.
It's a Minolta.
Minolta Electro Control. The Minolta Hymatic E. This seems like somebody with a little bit of, you could be Peter Parker with this. What do you think?
But you know what? It's amazing with analog cameras. Like, I would go and I'd be doing, when I was doing my commercial photography, I'd go do headshots of executives in the oil and gas industry.
Yeah.
And you have to get everything set up, and their handlers would bring them in, and you'd have like 3 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Sort of like Marsh, right? They come in, you snap the pictures, they leave.
Yeah.
And what I would always do is I would snap the pictures, everything would go good, and I'd say, oh, if you have just a moment, and then I'd pull out this old 1968 Hasselblad medium format. I said, if you have a moment, can we just do a couple pictures with this?
Yeah.
And invariably, these guys say, yeah, I got time. So all of a sudden their world just slowed down and became tangible, fungible, right?
Yeah.
And it was real, and you could hear that click, and you could hear things happening in the camera versus just a little beep. And and then I'd go and I'd scan the photos, and they would go, "Wow, this is amazing." You know what? And I'd send it off, and a lot of times they would love to get those prints done just for themselves, just because it was real, it's tangible, it's
So what I find is Jess has two
Yeah.
cameras. She's got a Kodak half frame that takes like 70 photos per roll, and she's got a Sprocket Rocket which takes 12 photos a roll. So like one takes two frames per shot, the other one takes a half frame per shot. And then we got Felix his own, because Felix I was waiting for him to bite and go, hey, can I have one too? So we immediately rushed out and got Felix a Ektar, and so he can shoot 72 photos on a roll. Here's what I've got to say. In my case, it isn't so much about having the photos. It isn't so much about those moments of like recording moments. For me, with a family, Jess, Rich, and Felix going out with cameras, it's all about seeing what he stops to shoot. Or we go for these walks and all of a sudden Jess is on her knees, like focusing, pointing at a leaf with a bug on it or something. Like it's what's interesting to me. And it's a thought that started, I carried around these Super 8 films for like 20 years until I found a projector. And did I talk about this last week? Maybe. I ended up coming across, Jess's family had a Super 8 projector, and I put these old films in, which were my mom's dad in Cuba in the 1950s. And what I expected was to see my family when they were young. And I'd carried these, like I ended up with these in my pocket when I was 19. I used to live, everything I owned had to fit into 16 milk crates. And one of the things that made its way into all those milk crates was these Super 8 films. And I didn't see the films until I met Jess, because her parents had a Super 8 projector in the basement. We transferred the films. And what was really like remarkable was my grandpa didn't take pictures of his family with the Super 8 because the film was so expensive, and he was in Cuba. He was taking pictures of people in Cuba just walking across the street and stuff. So at first, for a split second, I had this deep, deep disappointment that I wanted to see my family in the photos. But then the next thing I realized was, here's like 12 minutes of film of what Glenn Howell wanted to see when he was in Cuba. Like I was looking through my grandpa's eyes for 12 minutes. And that was even more special, I think, than seeing pictures of my aunts. There's a few of my aunts and my grandma waving at the camera in their bathing suits and stuff. But the really interesting part was watching, what did Glenn Howell want to look at? And I feel the same way about when Felix stops to take a photo. I'm not so interested in the photos he's taking. I'm interested in being next to him when he stops and says, oh, here's something I need to record. And that's really...
Also, the amount of focus, he is like so hyperactive like you, and he stood for like 10 solid minutes beside a magpie trying to get the right angle. Like him and this magpie were communing, and he was like, he eventually went, yes, and then walked away. I was like, I got it perfect.
Yeah, that's what the journey is all about. It's all everything leading up to it. Yeah.
And I've been shooting photos badly since I was 20, because I only ever shot photos for reference, right? So it didn't matter to me a lot of things that should have mattered to a photographer, because all I need, even if part of the picture worked, kind of like this, right? Like if I'm like this and my ears cut off and I just needed my eyeball, that would be fine. In terms of like layout and design, it's not great. But right now I'm kind of just stepping into shooting photos for the photo sector. And I have a whole bunch of binders filled. This is what we did instead of drinking, is we basically, I was turning all my instant dopamine into instant photos. And then Jess and Felix were not interested in the instant photos. And then Jess was interested in the Ektar camera. And then I actually got a little envious, the experience of like holding these images and waiting and taking them to the developer and waiting to get them back. And so that part was like, that's where I started down this path. Like, I also want a camera, but
so Julian, one of the co-owners of the camera store, was shot my wedding and was a mentor of me early on. He talked about when you take a digital photo, it's an image. It's disposable. You don't value it. It isn't until it's printed out and you can hold it in your hands that it becomes real. It becomes tangible and it has value to you. As if it's just on a screen, you just flick, and you blow through it so fast.
Well, and then what happened was Jess wasn't getting the printouts that she wanted of the where's your so the sprocket rocket shoots right onto the sprockets, and they kept editing them out for us. And so what we ended up doing was, after getting like 3 incredibly inexpensive cameras, that'd be the sprocket rocket was under $100, the Ektars are under $100. Yeah. We only spent, and then where I was thinking for this baby, I was kind of looking at, like, there was one that had been refurbished and painted that was $600, and that's where I was really talking myself out of the whole project. And then all the lenses that came with this, and then the tripod that came with it, and then all the filters that came with it, we probably got, like, we were just gifted 10 grand worth of stuff. And the one thing that was missing was,
and if you act now, we'll also throw in a tripod, lenses, and filters. Call the next 20 minutes.
Well, because here's the other thing is Jess's dad has this big stinker of a professional printer in the basement. So he's going to give us the printer. And this was printed off on our home printer, which is fine. It worked well enough. But we're getting a higher quality printer because everybody's getting rid of this stuff. And then the one thing we're missing that drew the whole thing together was I wanted a scanner to be able to scan my slides and take them into that realm of here where there's you got the sprockets. And so this is funny because this has happened to me twice since COVID. When COVID hit, I realized I needed a proper camera for my computer. Now, I was on Calgary free web in the around the time Jess was born, back when it was just large text and only no pictures, just text. Calgary free web, I think it was called. And then so I was using a modem dial-up long before most of my contemporaries were. And then to buy a webcam for your Mac 8600 back then was like super like out there. And then at some point, every computer had a camera built into it. And so the idea of buying a webcam became so foreign, like who would do that? I mean, I used to have a toaster for my Apple computer to burn CDs, and it was $1,000 to buy this machine that would burn CDs. And then 2 years later, every laptop had a CD burner built into it. So you kind of forgot about scanners because you can often take pictures with your phone and get a decent, like both of our books, instead of scanning the images, we just snapped stuff with our, like, ding, ding, took pictures with our phones. And then so like who buys a scanner? But to get the negatives onto the scanner, we ended up buying like a $400 scanner, which was no problem because everything else landed in our laps for free. But that was the one missing link, was this scanner that would scan negatives. So we got that. And we have such a tiny apartment. It's in a drawer right now, but that's how we created that image, was with this really nice scanner we got. What was the scanner? It was a Epson Perfection 6. I want to say 6,000. You keep saying it's 600, but I got my zeros wrong. It's 9:10. We're going to go for another 20 minutes. I think I have time to make one more painting. What should I paint?
Okay, I'm going to drop off, guys. Thank you so much for that. Thanks for chatting.
Thank you for
We will
chatting
see you
too.
soon.
It's really nice seeing you.
Do you know
Scott.
anybody?
Thanks for everyone. And yeah, we'll cycle back and we'll.
I'm gonna give this away. It needs a home. Do you know who might need a electromatic?
No.
Okay. We'll keep seeking.
Okay. And we'll line something up here in the next week or so to grab a quick bite to eat and nosh and nibble and all that stuff.
For sure.
Thanks for the invite.
See you soon. Take
Thank
care.
you.
Well, thank you for having me. Hey, oh, by the way, I love the laugh track.
Yeah.
I do too.
The laugh track just adds just that level of kitsch.
Would you like to see one more puppet movie?
Yeah. Oh, I'll stay on for one more puppet show.
Here we go.
I told them to put the toilet seat down. And I'm working on my wrath.
That's good. Real good, Jesse.
But if I fall into that toilet at 2 a.m. in the morning one more time,
All bets are off.
I like that Felix was the laugh track on that one.
Felix almost hurt himself. Felix almost hurt himself laughing at that one. It's I don't care if anybody thinks they're funny. It's been so healthy for me to write what I'm going to call loosely comedy. And then
to hear
I
Felix
can,
laughing.
because like I sit down and I wrote 12 jokes. I've never written jokes before. And I don't care if
It
they're
shows.
I know, but that's not the point. The point is that my brain was so elastic after writing those jokes, and I that's something I'm going to do. Maybe it'll ruin the Isle of Roux, but it's something I plan to do forever. Is the sitting down and writing the slapstick has been just so good for my brain. My brain's also writing content for Dead Kevin because he doesn't speak, and you're trying not to speak for him. That's also really exciting, but that's like a weightlifting thing. Like I'm really taxing my brain trying to write content for Dead Kevin, and then writing dad jokes for the puppets has been a real joy. So even if it's just fun for me, people are gonna have to live with it. Or actually, so it doesn't really matter if people watch us anymore. But that's something I'm gonna do till I old, and I couldn't help but get better at it. So
Anyway, I love it, and I got to encourage other people jump in the show. It's been a hoot.
Thank you, Scott.
Got to make it just like a giant cacophony of people.
Perfect. Have a good night.
I did. You too.
Okay, I got time for one more. What's it gonna be? I could paint a camera.
That's nice.
Isn't it?
So we're did we get through most of the videos too?
I think we played them all.
That's amazing.
Let's just look. Present. You thought I was playing them too fast.
No, but then we get caught up in conversation, so it's good. You're right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think I showed them all, and then they will end up onto the YouTube page as shorts. A lot of them we're not going to put up. Like I think the puppets we can whip off as one-offs. And can you get on screen? Yeah. And then the ones that we like, I put a little more extra effort into the what do you call? I put a little extra effort into the okay. I do want you to join me, but I need you to not bump into me while I'm painting. How can we fix this?
We're good.
There's a piece of fuzz on this paper. There's fuzz on the paper. Fuzz on the paper. There's an X. There's an X. You know what I'm doing?
Showing your parameters on the shot.
Yeah, I'm trying to find my parameters. That's funny. Look at this funny thing.
Oh, that's interesting.
So my camera's not square anymore. That's okay. So right by me. Do we have viewers? We have 7 viewers. I wonder who's with us. Was it Justin we saw in the early Gorilla House videos when we're just watching videos? So Justin, we've known you for 12 years now, and
it was so fun to watch those videos because that we got to see where we met everybody. Like,
yeah, we got to the first I think we watched the first 23 of them.
Yeah.
And then we can do that more this week.
Mm-hmm.
But that'll be nice when one of us dies first. The other one can go back and watch the 2,000 hours of footage that we have of ourselves. I wonder if we'll be like, I should have been nicer.
I think we did good.
We did pretty good. Except from that, like 10 minutes before we ever set up, there's always been like super tension. Like, where's my cable?
Well, that's because we want to do a good job.
Right. Or like poor Felix when we're doing the puppets. There's a tendency when you're doing puppets, you're like talking, you're doing all your lines, you're thinking really hard, and then you get tired and you start to drip down. And so like, because Jess is like the absolute worst at keeping her puppet up, I get really grumpy, try to keep her. And then Felix came in and he kept sinking down, but he also had it in his mind that he wanted to be lower.
Shorter.
Yeah, at a different level. And what I was trying to explain to him is that there isn't room for me to edit if you do that. And so I get really grumpy with him. Not really grumpy, like not too bad, but I was like, I think I had I'm going to take a break. I had like a moment where I went off set and I was like pouting because.
Well, it's hard when it's like a creative venture and everyone has a different like view.
Different value.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a different view. It's just a different value. And we're all like everybody's trying to remember their lines and what's the joke about and you know, I think we as a family do a pretty good job of the puppeteering in the sense that we're like, sometimes when we did puppets with strangers, we had this funny idea of like doing puppets with strangers and we'd make people puppets and they would kind of come on the show and do some puppeteering with us. There's kind of like okay, well, we're not going to put a lot of pressure on this, you know, author to do what we do. But there was a tendency for people to forget. They just start talking and their puppet will kind of just drift off. And we thought that was part of the charm too. But you and Felix are really good at keeping the lip movements authentic and not forgetting to do your puppetry. The only concern I have is that when the hands start sinking, it's just a sticking point for me. That's the continuity breaker, especially when I'm editing. I'm constantly having to edit around
different heights.
Yeah, the levels. And so the levels have to stay staged or becomes a lot of extra work for me.
That is fair.
And Felix was trying so hard. He doesn't like to disappoint anybody. So it was heartbreaking when I realized that he was struggling and he was really disappointed that he wasn't like before. That's a lot of pressure to put on 11.
Fun after.
Oh, like he laughed so hard.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to lose an eyeball.
That's the thing. It's
there's no question.
It's hard when you're getting into it, but then he got into it and it was really fun.
And it's not fun when it's bad, right? Like when you finish and you're kind of like now I need to move to another city. You know, that's not as much fun. So when it's good, or like I said, he was just squealing, especially with your performances. I think we're quite over the top.
I feel like I'm very reserved most of the time. And
yeah,
I go
and also kind of like gives me a new appreciation for June Carter.
Yes, that's what I was saying. I think I was
loosely the
inspiration,
impetus for your weirdness.
I love that. She has such a good sense of humor.
That line in that movie about how she wasn't the prettiest and she wasn't the best singer, so she had to be funny, I found so heart-wrenching. And I really do have a sweet spot for June Carter in my heart, because I think, like I was saying with that Katie Owie painting or sculpture, where like my mom might not have moved to Canada if it hadn't been for this one sculpture that's at the U of C. Mm-hmm. She wouldn't have come to Canada to look around, and then she wouldn't have got trapped here. Mm-hmm. Johnny Cash for sure would have died if it wasn't for June Carter and the Carter family. So that's really important too, because, you know, like I'm such a huge Johnny Cash fan, but I also forget that there wouldn't be a Johnny Cash if it hadn't been for June Carter and her family. And that one scene where she's at the Carter's house, he's at the Carter's house recovering from his drug addiction.
They went to his house to watch over.
Oh, did they? And you can kind of see that they probably would have had good reason to judge him harshly, because he wasn't living the kind of values that they were considered important, right? But then his drug dealer shows up and the father chases him off with a shotgun.
So does the mother. They're both.
And that was before they were married. That wasn't like a mother-in-law and father-in-law. That was like, we're taking care of this young man who seems to be struggling with a drug condition. And then the drug dealer comes by with a bag of probably bennies.
Pills,
and they're just like, that's not going to happen here. And they go chase him off with the shotgun. I thought that was pretty darn heroic, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody needs a crazy farmer with a shotgun to chase your drug dealer away.
Well, it's that idea, like, to connect it to the theme tonight, xenophilia, the idea of like appreciating otherness, like that might not have been their value. He might not have had their values, but he was a friend and he needed help. Yeah. I like that.
I like it a lot too. Do you know what else I like?
I like you.
You on your birthday.
I like that I like birthdays when they spread to the whole week slash birthday month. Yeah.
That was kind of sketchy when like we went to the keg.
It's not sketchy.
No, but just listen to the guys like, what are you guys celebrating? Like life, like whatever. Like, why do we have to be celebrating something? And then in the end, you were like, let's get some you guys, you want some cake? I'm like, well, it is your birthday week. And he right away bought you cake for your birthday, which I thought was pretty sweet. But I didn't want that to be like, hey, give us a free cake. It's our cake birthday thing. Like that. That's the thing that kind of stresses me out when people are like trying to get free stuff on their birthdays.
Mm.
But maybe because I just don't have that relationship with my birthday either. Which nobody from the Isle of Roux or Rumble House would know, because we're always trying to like pump up my birthday. But that was 100% trying to drive traffic into the event, which is a little bit sleazy on my part.
I think people like taking part. I think that's not sleazy.
No, but like, I'm just saying, like, I was artificially inflating my interest in my own birthday for the sake of keeping the gallery open. Not sleazy. Maybe sleazy is the wrong word.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I do like the word sleazy in context of like El Sleazo's bar in the Muppets. So I might have a different relationship entirely with that word than most people do. Because I'm like, yeah, the more I think about it, sleazy is probably not the right word.
Right.
But like sketchy. Not long ago, somebody had contacted us to show us that there was a stream on Reddit. Somebody was trying to get a hold of us. And I guess, so kind of a red flag for us is when somebody wants a lot of support in coming in. Like, can you, like immediately like, oh, I saw your website and can you give us more information? Like, yeah, I'm going to sit here and write an essay hoping you show up. Like, if you're coming in, just come in. You know, I'll spend a day talking to you if you show up, but like, I don't necessarily want to write every stranger, you know, a 3-page paragraph essay on what we do. Just come in and see it. And we weren't that blunt. It was like this few last weeks, and it was like, just come in and it'll be great. And then
I said words can't really describe it. I said something like funny and cute. Like I wasn't trying to be snarky or anything.
Yeah.
But when it's like over email and you don't know us, maybe it.
No, you wholeheartedly wrote the answer the way I would have answered it. And it was like, just come in and see.
Yeah.
And so they kind of drastically reacted to that on the Reddit thing, which we didn't know about. It was somebody else kind of let us know this was happening.
A few different people showed us the stream. It was hilarious.
Yeah. And then, but like probably somebody that didn't know us said, yeah, that place is a little sketchy. And it's like, we're totally sketchy. Like, that's not an insult. That's our business plan. And so that was funny.
It was hilarious.
Yeah. But hopefully they left happy. It was just so late in the game that we had like 2 rumbles left and we're starting to throw things out. And what we didn't want to do was have a long conversation about how somebody might come in if they weren't too busy, right? Like that's the problem.
Or like, this is what we used to do and we're closing in a week.
Yeah. Like I used to spend a lot of energy trying to generate flow.
Yeah.
And already I think I was starting to think about
slowing the flow.
What's happening at the Isle of Roux. And yeah, we're also like, come pick up your stuff. Don't drop any more stuff off. And I think that was kind of like always kind of been an indicator, is like when people called up and they wanted us to do the work and explain what it was about. It wasn't that we didn't mind explaining it, because we would often explain it over and over again. There's actually a TED Talk that explained it, but it had more to do with the people that wanted an explanation of what we did before they decided to show up, would often want like their hands kind of held during the art making, and a lot of like special treatment, like, oh, I called in advance, so where's my table reserved? And it's like, go find yourself a table. Or like,
bring your own table.
Yeah. Am I being a little cold-hearted?
No,
Yeah.
I was just laughing because that was part of the scene.
I had a big brush. Oh, here we go. You know what's really interesting about the fact that I hurt my arm?
What?
Is the amount of energy I had to put into taking care of my movements when I ripped my bicep off has directly translated over to me not overextending my arm while I'm healing right now. Is that I really did condition myself to not reach when I was injured.
That's good.
And now that I have a little bit of pain and tightness in that arm, I'm finding my arm is resisting that temptation to overextend and reach, which is super handy. But I also don't want to start feeling too good and then pop that shoulder out of joint and then have to get you to put it back in for me. Although I kind of know how they do it now too, so I could probably talk you through it.
Please don't.
It's not like in the movies anymore where you just bang it in. It was when I went roller skating that one time. Are you impressed with me?
Yeah. That's a really nice painting.
It's not bad, eh? It's not bad, is it? We got 7 people with us, but who are they? Nobody is going to talk to us on the feed because they think we're going to berate them into joining us online. And I promise, if you just say hello in the comments, I will not try and bug you to...
I think we're kind of winding down.
3 minutes left. Okay, here's where it gets wild. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Swoosh. Swoosh, swoosh. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Pa-chow, pa-chow. All right, we're not going to go quite yet because I just want to finish this baby off. And then can I
Oh, we don't have to go right now.
implore you?
Yeah.
If we could find somebody that would like this camera, though it's not done yet. If we could find somebody that would be interested in owning this camera, you can have it for free. You just need to show us you exist. You don't have to log in. Scott logged in. Just need to know you're real. Mm-hmm. 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 What's our plan for school days? Do we tidy up this before we go to bed, or do we tidy this up tomorrow? Are we going to get up and eat breakfast in this mess, or how will that go?
I think we put the stuff back tonight. It's only 9:30.
Oh, yeah. We're done earlier now.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. What can we do while we're waiting?
I was going to sing you a song.
Ooh. Isn't that the kind of end of the night thing, though?
Wait, isn't it the end of the night?
Not yet, no. Ooh, looks like Gina would like the camera, I'm hoping. What does she say?
She said, I'm here.
Hi, Gina. Would you like a camera painting, Gina? It's not quite done. It might be even nicer, if I do say so myself. Here we go. Oh, that won't play. Isle of Roux #2. What do you think? The space.
Oh,
movie?
yeah. A Space Hero X.
Still low. That's on me. I did that. I did that.
This is pretty nice. But Dad,
Just
How do we-
show Jess the coordinates.
right here.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry, but Dad said you can't go faster than light.
You can't go faster than light.
So then, how is it possible?
We jump into wormholes. Wormholes.
Oh,
Well, they're not wormholes like Earth science. They're like wormy holes. You want to take this seriously? We're running low on fuel.
Jumping away all that.
Okay, here, there's one here.
Okay.
So the thing is, Felix, we don't know where we're going to. Ready?
I think my seatbelt fell off again. I don't feel
Keep
good.
your seatbelt on. Hold on. Where are we? I see something. This one here. What's this
There's a
one?
replacement one over here. This one is all sulfur. I don't know if we can use it.
What about that one?
Like
Okay, wait. I see another. Hold on. Where are we now? This one looks promising. I see oxygen.
Oxygen. Water.
No.
It looks a little... How's that even possible?
Wormholes.
It's possible. Wormholes.
How is any of this possible?
Don't ask me. Okay.
Is that what I think it is?
Can we please put down? We just need fuel.
If the weather's nice.
It looks like we're in the northern hemisphere and it's summer.
Check the weather.
Winter.
Check.
Winter's not bad.
Listen, I'll get off on any stinking planet, but I want to know the air quality is good. Tell me the air quality is fine and I'm good. I'll put in the landing.
How about we keep looking for something else?
You want to keep looking.
Maybe we just keep looking. I like being in here with you guys.
Hey, you have the same laugh as Felix.
I do.
The funny part about that was there was this. Is that what you're gonna just say?
Yeah, I was just gonna say in context. We shot the Lost Hero X in also a play on the name Teru in the summer while we're sort of warming up the idea for how the Isle of Roux is going to look, and it was kind of an opportunity for us to get a little bit political without being too direct, because this is a family that decided either to shut down their art gallery or to go into space looking for a new home. And we didn't want to come home until things got better. And then the problem is we travel through space using wormy holes, and the wormy holes consistently keep taking us back to Alberta, not just the Earth, but Alberta. So we keep finding that maybe this is our home, and we don't want to land until we feel safe and comfortable here again. So that was before the American president was talking about the 51st state and all sorts of other sort of things. But essentially, my theory is Naheed Nenshi becomes the premier of Alberta, and the Lost Hero X just flies straight back to Earth, and they're happy again. I don't know what your politics are, but I love Nenshi. That said, the first episode, we got into space, and what did we do in the first episode? We went into space.
It was just short. We needed to stop for gas.
Yeah.
And then
I'm not going back to Alberta. The second episode, we end up ending back in Alberta that second time. And it so happened that we shot it during the forest fires. So what I had said was, just to explain the comedy behind this, I said we would go back and get the fuel we needed on the Earth, provided the air quality was good. And at the time, that was super funny because
the air quality was not good.
Super bad, but it doesn't hold up in December because it's just California that's burning right now.
Oh, we hope you're okay, Greg, and everybody in California.
Oh, we can do an episode about Greg.
Oh, that's a good
We just
idea.
need the camera to land on the letter G.
Or C.
What are the chances of that? Or yeah, this is like we dismantled Jesse's book so that we could spin the wheel and use the entire run of the alphabet to choose our themes. But this is kind of funny because like it could land on S for Santa Monica, it could land on M for Santa Monica, it could land for C for
let's be honest, that's always been the way the wheel
it could land on J for Johnny Cash, it could land for C. Like the doesn't really matter what letter it is, we'll find a way to make it fit Greg Cruz. The letter landed on X, and that didn't dictate who got the painting. It dictated the concept we were writing for that.
I like that.
The rules will be flexible and they will bend to my whims.
I like that.
Yeah. 9:36. I think my camera. Did Gina want the camera?
Yeah.
She said yes. She'll have it.
She gave 2 hearts.
Oh, Gina, I got you a camera. It's a Pentax K2. The camera of your dreams. I'll trim it down, or you can have it this size and trim it yourself. I didn't sign it, and then we're gonna go.
Can I sing to you while you sign it, and then we'll play the outro video?
Yeah. What are you singing?
If you're traveling
to the old
country
fair,
fair, where the winds hit heavy on the borderline,
remember me to one who was there.
For she once was a true love of
True
mine.
love of mine.
See for me if her hair's hanging down. It curls and falls all down her breast. See for me if her hair's hanging down. That's the way I remember her best. If you go when the snowflakes fall, when the rivers freeze and summer ends, please see for me that she's wearing a coat so warm to keep her from the howling winds. If you're traveling in the North Country Fair, where the winds hit heavy on the borderline, please say hello to the one who lives there, for she once was a true love of mine.
That was super good. This is your birthday rumble, birthday Isle of Roux,
Birthday Roux,
brought to you by the Rumble House.
brought to you by them.
And we got a little bit of
But-
tidying up to do. Gina's gonna have my camera painting. We're gonna hit end stream.
We are so grateful that you joined us tonight, and we look forward to seeing you guys next week.
And we love you.
We love you so
and we're
much.
grateful for you.
Yeah.
And thank you.